Joann's Fabric is gone, bankrupt, liquidated. But the story doesn't end there. Behind the scenes, Wall Street has been moving in on yarn. So why are massive investment firms buying up small yarn brands? Knit Picks, Jimmy Bean's Wool, Madelinetosh, Della, WeCrochet, Berroco, all of these brands have been picked up by private equity firms. Now, we've already seen the most dramatic possible endgame. Joann's couldn't handle the debt that it was saddled with, and it wound up closing forever. So what's the fate of these smaller yarn companies that are one by one being picked up and acquired by private equity? In this video, I'll break down why Wall Street is suddenly interested in our corner of the world, what went wrong with Joann's, what a private equity roll-up looks like when it comes to craft companies, and what it means for the future of making. The year is 2011 and Joann's is struggling. They're not really able to compete with big box stores like Walmart, online retailers like Amazon, and on the other end of the spectrum, your small local mom and pop fabric stores. Joann is somewhere in the middle and they're getting left behind. All is not lost, but things aren't looking great, and that's when private equity steps in with a leveraged buyout. In a leveraged buyout, private equity uses a loan to purchase another company. But that company that they acquired is the one that ends up saddled with the loan. Joann's wasn't making enough profit to make those monthly payments. And because Joann's itself is saddled with that debt, they just couldn't keep up. At this point, a different type of investor stepped in, a distressed investor. They were basically like, Joann's is not looking good, and they decided to liquidate everything and try and recoup as much money as they possibly could. Private equity wasn't hoping to destroy Joann's. They were just trying to make the most money possible by any means necessary. Private equity has been moving deeper and deeper into the yarn world, and you might not even know that your favorite brand is under a private equity umbrella. So who owns what? Knit Picks, Connecting Threads, WeCrochet, and Superior Threads are all owned by the local crafts group. This group also owns Berroco, which is a US distributor of Istex, the maker of Lopi yarns, Let Lopi. Under this umbrella is also Jimmy Bean's Wool, which acquired Madelinetosh and Della. All of these report up and are owned under the umbrella of Blue Point Capital, a private equity group. Now, this isn't even a comprehensive list, but did you know that Knit Picks was owned by private equity? What about Jimmy Bean's? What about Madelinetosh, a hand-dyed yarn company? Now, what does this all mean? Each of these are separate companies, but they now share the same owner, and private equity achieves this using a strategy called a roll-up. Now, a roll-up is when private equity looks for opportunity in many small businesses that do similar things. They decide to acquire all of them, remove redundancies, increase profitability, and then sell them all as a bundle in a couple of years for a profit. Now, what are redundancies? Let's say that Knit Picks, WeCrochet, Berroco each have an accounting person, a website manager, a social media person, customer service. Well, if you combine them into one company, you don't need 4 website managers. You don't need 4 marketing directors. You only need 1. And so those roles are cut, usually resulting in layoffs. In private equity's eyes, this is a great thing because in a couple of years when they go to sell the company, it looks more profitable and they can make more money off of it. But there is a downside. Many times these companies, especially when they're small and independent, they employ people who are really passionate about what they do, people who are crafters themselves. And when those jobs are rolled up, redundancies are removed, and layoffs happen, those passionate people might be replaced by someone more junior, someone who isn't in the industry, someone who doesn't care as much, but they're a whole lot cheaper. I don't really want to name drop, but I will tell you that there are crafters who I've followed for years who had jobs at some of the companies that have been rolled up, who were passionate, who were knowledgeable, and who were let go because of redundancies. I've been contacted by these companies and asked questions like, what is the knitting community like? What are knitters looking for? A real conversation I really had with an employee at one of these companies because they had let go of a professional with over 15 years of experience in the field. It's a shame that that's the state of the company after the PE roll-up, to be honest. Now, private equity doesn't only cut costs by removing redundancies and laying people off. There are lots of ways to cut costs. Let's look at Madelinetosh, for example. Madelinetosh started as an Etsy store in 2006. Over the past 20 years, Madelinetosh grew so much they were able to be acquired by Jimmy Bean's, and then they got rolled up into this whole private equity bundle. But if I was a private equity guy, and I was looking at a company making hand-dyed yarn, and I wanted to make the most profit possible, I would start to look at every element of the business, not just the people redundancies. I would wonder, why are we paying so much for wool? Does it have to be such a high quality? And what about the dyes? These are really expensive. What if we buy cheaper yarn? Cheaper dyes. Now, I'm not saying this is happening at Madelinetosh, I don't know. But I'm just saying if I was a PE guy, this is what I would be thinking. And this is why I, as a crafter, start to get nervous when PE is acquiring the companies that I love, because I start to worry, will the quality of the product start to decline as profit and the bottom line become the top priority? Now, I don't think it's private equity's goal to ruin our yarn and to ruin our favorite companies, but I do think it's their goal to make the most profit. And if I was focused on making the most profit, I wouldn't be focused on making the best quality materials. But if I was a PE guy watching this video, I would say that's exactly why we have to roll these up. Because these craft companies are so focused on making an amazing product that they're losing money and they're not even profitable. So we'll seize that opportunity. So what does this all mean for makers? Well, we're on Wall Street's radar. And I would encourage you to take a look at the stats of what it has meant for other industries when Wall Street and private equity have begun to roll up and invest in them. Veterinary offices, nursing homes. Just look at the stats and see. And what will this mean for knitting? The priority of private equity is profit. That's it. That's it at the end of the day. It's profit. And I think that the priority of crafters tends to lie in sustainability, in creativity, in connection, in supporting local businesses and small makers. Especially for those of us who are interested in slow fashion, working with companies that are owned by private equity may be counter to our values. We're entering a new frontier where I don't know if it's possible to avoid private equity entirely. As we see more and more craft companies acquired and rolled up by private equity firms, you may start to notice some changes, not only because passionate staff who care about what they do are being replaced by cheaper, less invested employees, but also because the quality of materials may be noticeably changing as private equity puts profit as the most important priority. You may also find that it's harder and harder to tell who is and who isn't owned by private equity as different companies acquire each other all under a hidden umbrella of Wall Street. I would also encourage you to really research the companies that you're supporting with your dollars. Crafting isn't always cheap, and you can vote with your dollars as to who you want to support. You have the power to do your research and support companies that are indie and mission-driven and that align with your values, like Green Mountain Spinnery, a worker-owned cooperative, or Catskill Merino, which is working to preserve heritage sheep breeds, or Peace Fleece. Like, these are some of my favorites, and if you're curious, I can make a whole video talking about all of the brands that I feel really good about supporting with my dollars and knitting with because they're great products. I'm not naive. I know that money talks. I know that businesses have to be profitable to thrive. It's only logical. But the way that PE goes about their business feels just a little bit, it just doesn't feel right. If you have a brand that you love to support because of their mission, their values, and their quality, drop the rec down below. I don't think we can avoid the new world of Wall Street's interest in craft, but I do think we can be honest and transparent with each other about what we know, share information so that we're not moving forward blind. It was really nice talking about knitting with you today, and I can't wait to see you in the next one. Bye.